मीडिया से गुफ्तगू कर रहे हैं।
Problems that we can face, or what measures have we taken, are already in place, and we continue to take to ward off any untoward incident related to this, or any kind of spillover of insecurity and instability into Pakistan. Without going into too many details of how the Afghan peace process has unfolded in the last couple of years, because you know it more than me, you've seen it all yourself, you have more information on how things have gone about and what has been Pakistan's role in that. I'll restrict myself strictly to the military context of this whole situation, and try and dilate on the security-related issues only. As far as the military situation unfolding in Afghanistan is concerned, what happened preceding 15th of August, that was the day when the Afghan government, Ashraf Ghani government in Afghanistan, fell. Preceding 15th August, the military situation unfolded rather rapidly, and I think it was against everybody's expectations. However, since withdrawal of US and NATO forces in Afghanistan was already decided, it was a given, it was never a matter of if, but a matter of when. So Pakistan had already started taking those measures which we needed to take to guard the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border in the best possible way, to manage it well, and to ensure security and stability on this side of the border. And needless to say that we have no doubt that if Pakistan's side of the border is secure and stable, and the movement on both sides is controlled, it is definitely going to have a positive impact on the other side. And that was the sole reason, of course, staying stable on our side, but also trying to get it reciprocated on the other side. How did it unfold? What kind of assistance did we get? What kind of a response did we get? How will we reciprocated on this account? I will talk about it as I go through my brief. To start with, let's just talk about the events immediately preceding 15th August and what has happened after that in the here and now. And then I will take you slightly back in the years to kind of contextualize of what efforts have we been making all along. Now, the details that I will be sharing with you, most of these details have been shared with you on different occasions of what we've been doing. But to talk about it once again, to reiterate what has been done, the effort is, the idea is to contextualize the whole thing, that how it was directly related to what was happening in Afghanistan. Preceding 15th August, on several instances, the notified border crossings on Pakistan-Afghanistan international border, they were closed and reopened because of the fluctuating situation on the other side. Then on more than 2 occasions, several Afghan soldiers belonging to the Afghan National Army, they entered Pakistan seeking a safe passage because there were fears of Taliban attacking their posts. They were accepted, they were looked after, and they were given the safe passage back into their country under the military norms, and we also shared these details with you on a couple of occasions. While we were anticipating the way situation was going to unfold, and there was a chance of instability along the border. So we moved our regular troops already deployed in the border regions. We moved our regular troops on the important notified crossings at the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border to ensure that the border control was well managed. As you would know that there are about 78 crossings along Pakistan-Afghanistan international border, with 17 of them being notified, and all the illegal crossings in this lead up were closed. Immediately after 15th of August, as things unfolded, the terminals and all border crossings have been kept open because I think a major reason is that Afghanistan is a landlocked country, and you cannot close the borders indefinitely because on humanitarian grounds as well. So all the crossings have been, notified crossings have been kept open. The trade convoys are also continuously moving on both sides. Right now, the biggest base in the near immediate vicinity of Afghanistan for evacuation of foreigners from Afghanistan is in Pakistan. I think more than 5,500 foreign nationals have been evacuated. There are, I think, as of now, we have the figures of about 113 flights which have landed from Afghanistan in Pakistan, in Islamabad, mostly military aircrafts and commercial aircrafts. So I would say that the situation right now along the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border is fairly normal. And alhamdulillah, there has been no untoward incident in the border regions. So, summing up the situation, I'll now just try and contextualize the efforts that when we started these efforts and what was happening when we were undergoing different phases of the operations that we underwent. Let me establish it right at the start. I think other than Afghanistan and other than the people of Afghanistan, the biggest victims of this conflict have been the people of Pakistan. We've had the maximum brunt of whatever has unfolded in Afghanistan ever since the Soviets invaded, followed up by the Afghan jihad, then the civil war, and then the war on terror in the last 2 decades of this century. Pakistan has continuously been victim of this. 86,000 plus lives lost, $152 billion of economic losses, and still counting. Let me just dilate on how Pakistan's armed forces have coped with the challenge in the last 2 decades and continuously invested in improving the security situation along the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border. While we were involved in this war on terror, during the last 2 decades, we've had 3 major escalations on our eastern border. 2001 and 2, 2008, and latest in 2019. We were deployed on the eastern border. We were deployed on the western border as there was a massive conflict going on in Afghanistan, and there were terrorist incidents happening inside Pakistan. So we were also deployed on internal security in all our cities and villages. At the peak of this period, there were more than 90 incidents happening, terrorist incidents happening in a year in Pakistan. While this was happening, come 2014, and the ceasefire violations peaked. Since 2014, we've had 12,312 ceasefire violations on our eastern border. During these 20 years, we conducted 1,237 major and minor operations and cleared more than 46,000 square kilometers of area along our western borders from the presence of terrorists and their infrastructure. During all this, we lost politicians, soldiers, generals, artists, women, children, journalists, students from every segment of society. That is what constitutes the 86,000 plus who have given their lives in this war. But, alhamdulillah, with the support of our great nation, our law enforcement agencies, our armed forces were able to turn the tide. And we came out of this thing. As soon as we were able to establish normalcy along the borders and inside Pakistan, we started working for enhancing our border security to ensure longevity of this success. By up to 2012, there was no coordinated mechanism on Pakistan-Afghanistan border. So to address that, we went for a tripartite border SOP. Then in 2014, then bilateral border SOP in 2014, bilateral military coordination SOP in 2015, and then Afghanistan-Pakistan Action Plan for Peace and Stability in 2018. It had 5 groups within this, with military working group being just one of those. So we were reaching out to Afghan government to formalize the border control mechanism, because that we felt was the answer to this instability which was existing along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border on both sides. So that is what we have been trying to do all along. However, we reciprocated. Well, most of these initiatives were not really responded well to, less the one in 2018. And then we also went for intelligence sharing mechanism, but that also did not materialize the way we wanted it to be. Now, during this period, as we reached out on military level to the Afghan army and Afghan government, some major highlights of the assistance that we offered, I'll just give you some points on that. There were several high-level visits conducted by the Pakistani military leadership in Afghanistan, 4 visits by the Chief of Army Staff during this period. We offered a mechanism for intelligence sharing. We offered training of Afghan soldiers and officers in Pakistan armies and Pakistan Air Force training institutions. We offered it several times. Only 6 Afghan cadets came to Pakistan during this period. However, hundreds and thousands of Afghan army officers and soldiers went for training to India. And several Indian Army's training teams were placed in Afghanistan to train Afghanistan's National Army and their forces. We even invited the Afghan Chief of Army Staff to Pakistan as a chief guest on one of the parades of Pakistan Military Academy. We also offered the Afghan Army to train and equip a complete brigade-sized force on gratis basis with our equipment and everything. And this was offered as late as the last visit of the Chief of Army Staff to Afghanistan. We offered them, we'll equip a complete brigade for you and train them. All this while, the G-locks stayed open, which were the main logistic lifeline of the US and NATO forces operating in Afghanistan. And why were we doing this? Why were we offering this all along? Why were we so adamant at rooting out terrorists from this side? Why did we conduct so many operations on our side? Why did we go for this, enhancing this border security mechanism? Because we had never doubted that peace in Afghanistan is directly linked to peace in Pakistan. So if there is conflict, if there is unrest in Afghanistan, it has a direct impact on Pakistan, and we are all witnesses to that. So it was a very sincere effort all along. But what needs to be seen here is that Pakistan has repeatedly been cautioning the world about negative role played by spoilers of peace in Afghanistan for their own vested interests, and they continue to do so. And we've been highlighting it at every forum. Coming over to the, while we were conducting operations on the western border, while there were massive CFVs going on the eastern border, while we were deployed in internal security in hinterland also, there was a massive capacity enhancement initiative initiated in 2017. Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, he gave a vision of securing the western borders comprehensively. And that is where we went for this comprehensive border management regime. Some of the details of that, we raised more than 60 new wings for the Frontier Corps in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to enhance the capacity of FC, which is always manning the borders, and because of the increased threat across. Then we upgraded the technology and surveillance and biometric systems which were deployed on our major border terminals, and we are still continuously upgrading them and bringing in state-of-the-art technology to make sure that it works. We constructed hundreds of border forts and new posts along the 2,611-kilometer long Pakistan-Afghanistan border. The border fence, this was a massive undertaking. When it started, just to start this project was a massive initiative. Alhamdulillah, now more than 90% of the Pakistan-Afghanistan border has been fenced. And during this fencing, many Pakistani soldiers have sacrificed their lives. And presently we are also working on the Pakistan-Iran international border to fence that as well. That is also, I believe, more than 50% progress has been achieved on that border as well. On Pakistan-Afghanistan border, we have 1,238 border posts and forts, whereas what do we have on the other side? Just 377 posts, with miles and miles of distance in between. So it's practically not possible for that side to see who's moving where. So it was a one-sided affair, it continued to be one-sided affair. Now, after 2 decades of this century, we can say that we have fought off this menace of terrorism fairly well. And that too as a nation, with a whole-of-nation approach. The Operation Sherdil, Al-Mizan, Rah-e-Rast, Rah-e-Nijat, Zarb-e-Azb, Operation Khyber 1, 2, 3, Operation Dawatoi, North Waziristan, and the countrywide continuing Operation Raddul Fasad. All these operations are an epitome of insurmountable spirit, supreme sacrifice, and whole of nation efforts. That's how we need to look at it. In addition to this, Pakistan's security forces are also deployed along the CPEC projects and also giving sacrifices over there. And we are ensuring the security of these projects. Of late, I think most of the investigation details have also been shared with you for Dasu, Lahore, Quetta and Gwadar incidents. All incidents were planned and executed from Afghanistan with the help of NDS and RAW. Just a word about line of control. The ceasefire understanding that was reached in February earlier this year under the 2003 ceasefire agreement, that is holding. Now, what are the dividends of these sacrifices and this peace that we have been able to establish? 199 developmental projects worth 601 billion rupees are in progress in Balochistan under the Government of Pakistan Vision Balochistan 2020. 831 development projects worth 31 billion rupees are in progress in the tribal districts of KP. There has been massive investment and massive progress in infrastructure, health and education related projects, and Pakistan's armed forces are continuously assisting the provincial and federal government in all these projects, may it be their security or may it be some projects. Many projects have been initiated by the deployed troops over there as well. So this, in a nutshell, was how Pakistan's armed forces have contributed towards security and stability, which is directly connected to the Pakistan-Afghanistan border regions and the kind of sacrifices that we've given. Before I take questions, I would also like to highlight here that 6 September this year, Yom Difa और Shuhada Pakistan, ये भी इस दफ़ा हम इंशाल्लाह हमेशा की तरह पूरी कौम के साथ मिलके मनाएंगे. और जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, जो सेक्रीफाइसेस ओवर द इयर्स हमने दी हैं, उनको पूरी कौम के तौर पे हमें उनका हक अदा करना है. और 6 सितंबर 1965 की मुनासबत से योम दिफा और शुहदा मनाया जाता है हर साल. दिस टाइम द टैगलाइन फॉर योम दिफा और शुहदा इज़ वतन की मट्टी गवाह रहना. एंड there will be a ceremony held on 6 September, but it will be held under very strict COVID protocols with a very limited participation. So because of that, मेरी ये रिक्वेस्ट है आपकी वसातत से, पूरी कौम से, कि आपके इलाकों में, आपकी गलियों, महलों में, शहरों, गाँव में, जहाँ जहाँ शुहदा के घर हैं, उनके लवाकिन रहते हैं, we need to reach out to them. हमें उनके घरों में जाके उनको सलाम करना है और जो कुर्बानी उन्होंने इस मुल्क के लिए दी है, उसके लिए उनका शुक्रिया अदा करना है. So that would be all. Thank you very much for a patient hearing. I'll take questions now. जी.
सर, बोल न्यूज़ से अहमद मंसूर. जनरल साहब, आपने तमाम वो इक़दामात और वो बताए हैं कि जो वहाँ पे अफ़गानिस्तान की सूरत हाल है उस पर पाकिस्तान पे अगर असरात होते हैं तो बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट वगैरह सारा आपने बताया है. लेकिन फिर भी सर, मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो वहाँ पे सूरत हाल तेज़ी से बदल रही है, एक क्योस है, हुकूमत का ढांचा नहीं है, दूसरी साइड पे कोई उनकी प्रेजेंस नहीं है सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस की पाक अफगान बॉर्डर पे, और जिस तरह अमेरिका और मगरब इस हाल में छोड़ के अब यहाँ से जा रहे हैं, और अभी काबुल का जो ब्लास्ट हुआ है एयरपोर्ट का, उसमें दाइश खरासान ने क्लेम किया है, तो ये जो सारी सूरत हाल है इसमें ये खदशात तकवीत पकड़ रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान पर इसके जो असरात हैं पाकिस्तान की कौमी सलामती पे वो कुछ ना कुछ ज़रूर आएंगे। तो हमारी जो फौजी क़यादत है वो इसको कैसे देख रही है, क्या सोच रही है, क्या प्लान कर रही है, और जो दुनिया है उससे क्या तवक्कुआत हैं कि इस पर क्या होना चाहिए?
Mansoor Sahab, this is what I have explained here actually. We expected, these were our apprehensions that the way situation was unfolding in Afghanistan, there can be a spillover into Pakistan. And that is the only reason that we took all these steps. And this is not, I mean, these are not overnight steps. We started way back, starting from maybe 2014. That is when we started beefing up our security in these areas. That is when we upped the ante against the terrorist infrastructure which was over there. And after we concluded Zarb-e-Azb, that was the conclusion of major military operations in these areas. Then we started off with Operation Radul Fasad, and as I said, it covers the complete country. And all law enforcement agencies are involved in that. So these apprehensions were always there. I mean, the leadership, political and military leadership of Pakistan had that kind of foresight that this is something that could happen. So, as I said, despite whatever has happened on that side, alhamdulillah, the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border, the situation over there is fairly normal. It's pretty much under control. There is no problem over there, and there are no major incidents. But this does not mean that nothing can happen. Something can happen. But we are prepared. It's not that we will be taken unawares on that. Thank you.
Muhammad Nazım, Anadolu News Agency.
Muhammad Nazım Taşçı, Anadolu Agency, Turkey. Sir, after Taliban take over Kabul, Pakistani government has made a statement about the TTP.
About?
Pakistani Taliban.
Mm-hmm.
And Islamabad asked Taliban to take...
माइक थोड़ा करीब करें उनके, माइक थोड़ा.
Islamabad government asked Taliban to take action against TTP. So